You guys see what's going on? The title, I saw this video on Facebook. A young man went and did his what is the title says? That he took his tithes and his offerings, instead of giving it, this is in Nigeria or some part of Africa for sure. Instead of giving his tithes and his offering to those pastors that can stay on the pulpit and boast and brag that they have 4, 5, 6 private jets, they have fleets of luxury cars, instead of giving his tithes and offering to somebody who doesn't seem to need it any longer, and then he decided to do what? Use his tithes and offering and fulfill Matthew chapter 25. Go read the whole chapter of Matthew 25. Jesus said, I was hungry, you didn't feed me. How can you leave the people in the streets hungry in Africa? You jump over them and then you go to the pastor and give them your money? Really? Does that even make sense? Does anybody have the spirit of love and Jesus in them? That they are widows, they are orphans, they are people in the street, beggars, right around the same churches. You jump over them, you spit over them, you drive in your car, they're sitting there, you drive by, flash the water on them to go to your church and to give the money to the pastor. Does that make sense? Or the pastor will take the money and he will distribute it? Really? So you don't have enough sense to even take the money that God gave you, to take 10% of your money and use that 10% and feed the poor, take care of the widow. Why can't we do it? If every Christian begin to take that 10%, take 10% of your salary, whatever you have, take 10%, and you take that 10%, you go to the streets and take care of the poor. How's that? As opposed to give it to a church building, the man who you gave it to, he has no use for it anymore. He has mansions and houses all over Nigeria and Africa, private jets that you don't even have access to. And it was in the book of Acts. The people sold their houses and properties and they brought the money to the disciples, to the apostles' feet, and the apostles divided and distributed the resources as the people had need of it, that no one was lacking in the Bible, in the church, in the book of Acts. How come today you take all the money and give it to the apostles and the bishop and the pope and the daddies and the mommy and the GOs or whatever useless, stupid titles they have? You give the money to them. And yet there are people sitting in the church hungry. It is time for those pastors to begin to sell those private jets in their mansions and fleet of luxurious cars. It's time for them to sell it and give the resources and distribute the resources and the funds from selling the property. Distribute it in the church as the people have need of it. That's how the the early church, that's how they function. How come you're buying private jets for your pastors? And guess what? You don't have access to it. And most of them will say, oh, I gave my money to the pastor. I don't care how he used it. It's between him and God. But you are the same person who will say, the same African will say that. They will turn around and say, oh, I don't give my money to the poor people in the street, or to give it to, I don't give my tithes to anybody in the street because that person could be a witch and they could do witchcraft with my money. But I thought you said you don't care what happened to your money. You just said that you gave your money to the pastor. How he spent it, you don't care. It's between him and God. Okay, if you don't care how your money is spent, give it to a witch. Give it to a widow. Give it to a homeless person. Give your money to somebody in the street since you don't care how it's being spent. You guys are just deceiving yourself. I don't care how the pastor spent my money. You know it's a lie. You're not giving it to the pastor because you don't care how he spent it. You're giving it to him because he has brainwashed you to think that the only way you can be blessed from God is to bring your money to the man of God. That's how. That's the only reason. Because if you claim that you don't care how your money is being spent, whether the pastor spend it, you don't use it properly, it's between him and God, you don't care. You do care how your money is being spent, because if you didn't care, you would take that same money, go to the streets, feed the hungry, take care of the widows, take care of the orphans, get some of those street kids off the street, put them through school, take young ladies from prostitution, put them in through school, take those poor market women off the street and teach them how to get off the street and help them rent a shop and become true business women. You do care how your money is being spent. You are just a liar and deceiver, just like the so-called pastors and fathers and GOs you follow. You just like them. That's what it is. You do care.
Brother, God will bless you. God will bless you. God will bless you. get small this thing. They should use and do on transport. Thank you very much.